3.5 is on dividing polynomials. There are times where we can do synthetic division, and there are times where we can't, and we have to do long division. So we can do synthetic division if all you have is like just your variable and then a plus or minus and then your number. So this is a perfect example of a time that we can do synthetic division. So I'm going to start with synthetic division. I line up my coefficients. You have to be in standard form to do synthetic division. So it already is in standard form. So line up my coefficients, 1, 3, -3, -1, 1. If you were missing a term, then you would put a 0 in as a placeholder. So like if there was no t squared term, you'd put a 0 there. You put your upside down divided by bar. And then you put the root associated with this factor. So this would be 3. Basically, you change that sign. And for synthetic division, we bring down our first coefficient. We multiply outside with bottom. So 3 times 1 is 3, and that's what goes here. We add the column, so that's a 6. We multiply outside with bottom, that's 18. We add the column, multiply, add, multiply, no, sorry, I'm talking to my calculator, multiply, add. And then whatever degree we had here, this is always 1 less. So this would be 1t to the third. 6t squared, 15t, and 44. And then your last term here is your remainder. So you would put that over what you divided by. So that would be my final answer. Okay. Now, there are certainly going to be times where you cannot do synthetic division. This is one of them. We can't do synthetic division here because of the 6 and the squared. If this were just r plus 7, we could have, but we cannot do synthetic division with 6r squared plus 7. So instead, we're going to do long division. Now, the steps to long division with polynomials are the exact same as the steps when you multiply numbers, or when you divide numbers, I mean. You start at the top and you ask yourself, what is 6r to the third? We always deal with the first and the first. What is 6r to the third divided by 6r squared? Well, that would be just an r. And then you multiply. R times 6r squared plus 7 would be 6r to the third. I'm going to put it over here, plus 7r. And then we subtract. 6r to the third minus 6r to the third will cancel. There's nothing to subtract away from this, so just bring it down. And then 13r minus 7r would be 6r. Okay, now again, front and front. What is negative 48r squared divided by 6r squared? That's going to be a negative 8. And then we multiply. Negative 8 times this would be a negative 48r squared, and then a minus 56. I like to just make sure that my like terms line up when I do this, because that's going to make my subtraction way easier. Negative 48r squared minus a negative 48r squared will become negative 48r squared plus 48r squared, which will cancel. We'll bring down the 6r. And then a negative 53 minus a negative 56 will become negative 53 plus 56. So that's plus 3. Now, you'll know you're done with these when this last thing is a constant. So we're out of variables. I cannot do 6r divided by 6r squared. So my final answer would be r minus 8 plus 6r plus 3 over 6r squared plus 7. Let's do another one. Everything is in standard form, so 2w squared minus w minus 3, negative 14w to the 4th, 7w to the 3rd, 38w squared. Okay, first and first. What is a negative 14w to the 4th divided by 2w squared? That's going to be a negative 7 and a w squared. So now we're going to multiply this negative 7w squared by everything here. Negative 7w squared times negative, that's going to be negative 14w to the 4th. And then a positive 7w to the 3rd. And then a positive 21w squared. Now this is definitely going to be where you guys are going to make your mistakes. So I recommend taking this subtraction whenever you have it's a lot of terms. I recommend taking this subtraction, changing it to addition, and then taking the second to change all of the signs behind it. Okay? Because it's a lot to keep track of. So if instead of worrying about making sure you remember that this is subtraction, you just say, okay, instead I'm going to add everything's opposites, then you'll be good to go. So here we have 14w to the 4th plus a negative 14w to the 4th plus 14w to the 4th. They'll cancel. Then we have a negative 7w to the 3rd minus 7w to the 3rd. That's going to be a negative 14w to the 3rd. Then we have 38w squared minus 21w. That's going to be 17. And then we bring down. Okay. So what is negative 14w to the 3rd divided by 2w squared? That's going to be a negative 7 and a w. Let's multiply again. Negative 7w times this is going to be negative 14w to the 3rd plus 7w squared plus 21w. So I'm going to subtract. But again, I'm just going to say, okay, instead I'm going to add the opposite. So 14w to the 3rd and 14w to the 3rd will cancel. A plus 17w squared and a minus 7w squared will leave me with 10w squared. a plus 16W and a minus 21W will be minus 5W. And then we'll bring down the minus 23. Okay. What is a 10W squared divided by 2W squared? Well, that's just 5. So 5 times 2W squared is 10W squared. 5 times a negative W is a negative 5W. 5 times a negative 3 is a negative 15. And then we'll subtract. But again, I'm going to make this into adding the opposite. So plus, minus, plus, plus. 10W squared and negative 10W squared cancel. And in fact, a negative 5W and a positive 5W cancel also. Negative 23 plus 15 is going to be a negative 8. So then my final answer here is negative 7W squared minus 7W plus 5. And then I honestly don't know if they want plus and then a minus, or if you would just do minus 8 over 2W squared minus W minus 3. Okay. Now for the last one that I have on here, this one is another good candidate for synthetic division. I put this one on here because I need you to know that if you're missing a term, like I said before, you have to put a 0. So when I line up my coefficients for synthetic division here, I would do 1, 4, and then a 0 and 22. Because there is no A term, we need a 0 to hold its spot. Then a plus 5 means I would put a minus 5 out here. So let's bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. And so if this was an a to the third, then this would be a squared a5, and this is my remainder. So you'd probably put this in more as a squared minus a plus 5, like that. Okay. I mean, this entire homework assignment is just dividing. It's all either synthetic division or long division. So I don't have a lot on here because you're not going to see a lot of different things. But you're going to practice it for sure. You get a lot of practice with both synthetic division and long division.